What's the oldest watch that you own? I'm not talking about vintage, but the watch that you've owned the longest. Here's mine. Welcome to the English Watch. Before we get started, if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up and don't forget to leave any comments. I really enjoy responding to them. Please also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. We're over 300 subscribers now and I can't believe the momentum over the past couple of weeks. If you're new to the channel, please also check out my previous videos. I'm so humbled by the experience and pleased that I'm producing content of interest. Now, part of learning how to create is understanding your audience, and I hope you're seeing steady progress, not only in the quality of the production, but also my ability to tell a compelling story. Please also don't forget to check out my website, theenglishwatch.com, as you can see here. It's only me writing for now, and it's getting easier to produce the articles as I find my style. Right now I'm focusing on things that mean something to me, where I can share my experiences and thoughts with you. I'm finding writing a genuine escape where I can let loose a little more, so please check it out. Okay, wristwatch check. Now I'm wearing my Rolex Submariner date. This is reference 116610LN. Now I've had this back on my wrists for about a week now and I'm absolutely loving it. I can't get over how comfortable this bracelet is. It's such a perfectly sized and balanced watch and hasn't lost or gained any time in the week. A real masterpiece. I'll get into things I love versus things I don't at some point, but I've only had it since January and it needs to get really under my skin before I can give it a full appraisal, or even if I want to keep it. In the meantime, please check out the video in the pop-up above on how to adjust this oyster bracelet. I hope you enjoy that. So back on to today's topic, the watches you have owned the longest. As we'll see, these are not necessarily watches that you regard as part of your collection, and the two watches I'm sharing with you are from my back catalogue and what you might call the black sheep. A bit like your first car, the one you couldn't bring yourself to drive today, but look back on with fond memories. After all, and at the time, just having a car meant everything. The brand was secondary to the freedom it gave you. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I've got a 4-watch collection. Soon to be 3, but that's for another video on another day. All are Swiss, all recognisable luxury brands. And I don't even consider my Apple Watch as an honorary member, as I don't use it as a watch. It's mainly a fitness and notification tracker if I'm out on my bike or washing the car. It's an awful watch for telling the time, in my opinion. Now these two watches, well, they're junk. So what are they? Well, let's look at the first one. What did every teenager in the 1980s want while trying to emulate style of the yuppie culture at the time? Yes, my first watch was an homage watch, an homage to an icon of 80s excess. That's right, it was the Rolex Datejust two-tone, and in this case the reference 16013 with a diamond set dial. But wait, I couldn't afford a Rolex when I was 17, so I bought a Sekonda. Bought in 1988 for my 17th birthday. I love this watch. I can't really remember why I bought this style, but it did go with the gold and onyx signet ring I had the year before for my 16th birthday. Not something I'd wear today. This watch saw me grow from boy to man as I cast aside the Casio CA53W, the Back to the Future watch. This watch accompanied me on my first date, was there when I had my first kiss, and it took me to university where I ultimately met my dear wife today. Now this watch doesn't work anymore and I can't get the back off to change the battery as it's seized up. So this watch will remain closed and will probably eat itself from the inside as the battery leaks. Now, true to the Rolex original and men's watches of the time, it's got a 36mm case, it's 11mm thick and it has a screw down crown and a screw down case back. It says 10 atmospheres water resistance, but judging by the water damage on the dial, I can't really vouch for the engineering behind the case seals. But it has a mineral glass and was tough as old boots. Now this watch has seen many milestones in my life and remains precious to me. Not valuable, but holds the essence of my youth, and I take great comfort from that. Now, being a car guy rather than a watch guy at the time, I didn't make the most of my mother's graduation gift of £1,000. And in 1994, that was a lot of cash. So instead of hot-footing it to the local Rolex Eddy, I sought out a rusty old Opel Manta. Now this was my dream, not the watch. Now, as everyone knows, cars are seldom a safe bet when it comes to value retention, especially at the end of the market I was at. But needless to say, the car disintegrated and became pretty worthless. So I've got my university degree, I've got my dream car, and I've just secured my first professional job. Surely now's the time to get that Rolex Explorer or the Omega Seamaster? Of course not. Oh, my trusty Secondo stuck with me through thick and thin for 8 years. It's looking a little beaten up now and the bracelet's stretched. I know. I'll get another one. Enter the Sekonda Tag Heuer Professional Homage. I can't remember the model names. I have a vague recollection of buying this one. I think it was around 1996, and I've no idea why I bought a 35mm watch. I clearly had no interest in it, and maybe just liked the look. I believe this one is an homage to the Tag Professional of the early 90s. I was clearly tuned into their marketing, but had no real interest in buying the actual watch, even though I could afford it. Always an eye on the next car, and planning a wedding and first house, all with my wife-to-be. And this one, judging by the condition, had a much easier life. Where the previous watch saw some wild and exciting revelling, this watch was strapped to the arm of a man with developing values. I see it as a bit of a bridging watch, and the last cheap watch before I fell into the arms of my beloved Omega in 2001. So who are Sekonda? Well, they still make a range of cheap watches, and some with obvious cues to popular Swiss brands, and that's okay. I'm sure the appeal for youngsters is as much there today as it was for me over 30 years ago. The difference now is that kids are far more brand savvy and are as likely to pick up a fake with Rolex written on than one of these. And the trouble is, the quality is probably not that far off, although I'm sure Sekonda will disagree. Now, if you read the Our Story section on the Sekonda website, they say they are a British brand that started in 1966, offering watches originally manufactured in Russia. But doing a little bit of research, these were from the USSR Watch Industry Central Agency, and they are under a company called Gazprom. And in the 80s, with the adoption of quartz movements, assembly moved to Hong Kong for some models. And then following the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1992, Seconda UK abandoned Russian manufacturers in favour of all Asian watch suppliers. So is this a British company? It's not really clear, and it certainly wasn't on my list of criteria as a 17-year-old. During the 1980s and 90s, Seconda's TV ad campaign became famous for being humorous and light-hearted, featuring the likes of Bob Monkhouse, Ronnie Barker and Madness. Run VT.
How much? This is madness! Madness, madness, we call it madness. Buy a Sekonda, it'll fill you with gladness. It does the same job, and it'll save you a fair few bob. Madness, madness, we call it madness.
Sekonda emphasised its brand ethos with these adverts: high quality, desirable watches at affordable prices. They never downplayed their position in the market, and deliberately drawing your attention to the fact that they were cheap. And their slogan was beware of expensive imitations. Now for my eldest son, his first watch was a Lego watch. He now has a Seiko mechanical field watch and a G-Shock. Now this is a good start to his journey. And I recently gave him my father's Omega Aquaterra quartz. I saw it fitting to hand this to him as my father bought it for his 60th birthday, the same year my son was born. Now it's not bad having your birthday watch by 16, especially a luxury watch. Now it's your son, you both need to look after each other. I wonder what he'll be looking for as his graduation in 5 years. I'm not sure you can buy a car as rusty as my old Manta anymore. Just as well really. And I'm also now under pressure to find a birthday watch for my youngest son. I don't have anything from 2006 other than my Casio F91W. I bought this watch while my Omega was in for a service, and he's really enjoying it on the NATO, so I'm off the hook for now. And I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane with me. You can read some more insights into my current collection and these watches on my website. Now don't forget to leave any comments and tell me about your early watches. I'll be really interested as we all have our own story to tell. Now remember, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so this has been the English Watch. Take care now and goodbye.